So it is time to haul some books, and today I have a whiny dog back here, so I hope you guys don't get annoyed by him. I got my Book of the Month Challenge prize. Reading is Sexy. I love the hat. It's super cute, but I'm gonna take it off now that we're starting the video. Adorable. It says Book of the Month right there on the edge. I love it. I'll probably wear it quite often. I am a hat girly. I do like hats now that my hair is significantly messed up. Also, I'm sorry if you can hear my fan. While it is cold outside, it is a little bit toasty in this room. But yeah, let's get straight into it and haul some books. I have 15 books that I am hauling, and as you guys know, I'm trying to read down my shelves. So some of these are an attempt to still read down my shelves, but to acquire some books that I have been wanting to read for a while. So it's kind of like a double-edged sword here, kind of this book haul, and it's honing in on my reading tastes. It's making me buy with purpose instead of just buying to buy. And I'm not saying that I just go out, hang on, my glasses are driving me crazy, so hopefully you guys don't mind if I take them off. I want to, like I said, buy with purpose. I want to pick books based on my reading taste and not on a whim so often. I have been doing that with the buy sell trade lately. However, these are all books that I purchased on my own, either through Amazon or the Books A Million sell. So again, these are books I paid money for, so I'm hoping they're going to be great. Then I have my Book of the Month box, and I also have my first Aardvark box. Now, my second Aardvark box has been delayed, but we can go through the three that I am waiting for. Okay, and then a slight interruption by my husband as he was calling. But to the books. Are you guys crooked? I can't see without my glasses, so looks a little crooked. Oh, and I got this for Christmas. I bought it for myself. It says Bookworm. It's warm and cozy, fitting for the season. Okay, so the first book I got is The Whispering Dead by Darcy Coates. This is Gravekeeper Book 1, and it is not the only Darcy Coates that's going to be in this haul. If you guys have seen my recent videos, you will know I'm leaning more towards horror a little bit lately. I really want to add variety to my reading. I know that you guys probably see me as a fantasy reader, but that's not where I got my start. Horror was where I got my start, and I have a tendency to gravitate back towards it. If I get burnt out on a certain genre, this is where I go. And I am trying to, like I said, add variety to what I will be reading, and to explore genres that outside of fantasy, because I've been reading fantasy for so long now. I really need to break it up. But this one says, she hears them whispering. Homeless, hunted, and desperate to escape a bitter storm, Kira takes refuge in an abandoned groundkeeper's cottage tucked away at the edge of a cemetery. It's surrounded on all sides by gravestones, some recent, some 100 years old, all suffering from neglect. And in the darkness, she can hear the unquiet dead whispering. So I think this sounds really good. It's a series, so I did want to pick up a series by Darcy Coates, but I also wanted to pick up a standalone. And again, if you guys know me, I love sci-fi horror. It is one of my favorite subgenres. And when I heard Darcy Coates had a sci-fi horror, I was sold. I need to know. This is Parasite, and it says they're closer than you think. When a guard discovers an unusual life form on her remote moon outpost, she disregards protocol to investigate with catastrophic consequences. So I don't want to read any more into it because, especially with horror, I don't want to know too much going in. I want the horror to grab me. And I think that if I read too far into the synopsis, I will be waiting for something that might not be coming, or it takes too long to get there. So I just want to go into this not knowing much. And I do have a couple sci-fi horror on my TBR. This is like, there are very few because I've read so many, but I know that S.A. Barnes also has another one coming out, and I've liked the two that I've read from her, which is Ghost Station and Dead Silence. And Ghost Station was not my favorite, but I still liked it, and Dead Silence I really enjoyed. So I'm hoping that this is kind of in the same vein writing style wise, but I've heard that there's a lot more people who like Darcy Coates, so very much looking forward to this. And then I picked up Manhunt. This has kind of been on my radar for the cover. I think it's funny. And this is dark humor, and horror combined. So I'm looking forward to that quite a bit. I love dark humor. Again, I really love horror. And this says a filthy furious delight, and so I'm kind of down with that. This book has won quite a few awards as well. Beth and Fran spend their days traveling the ravaged New England coast, hunting feral men and harvesting their organs in a gruesome effort to ensure they'll never face the same fate. Robbie lives by his gun and one hard-earned motto: other people aren't safe. After a brutal accident entwines the three of them, this found family of survivors must navigate murderous turfs, a sociopathic billionaire bunker brat, and awkward relationship dynamics, all while outrunning packs of feral men and their own demons. So it sounds like it's going to be funny, and that's kind of what I was going for with this one. I do like picking up books with humor, even though humor never works for me. I don't want to say never. The Immortality Thief is going great. But dark humor is where my humor resides. Sarcastic humor, things like that, witty humor, but I'm looking forward to seeing how this pans out. Okay, and then I picked up the next two books in this series. Savage Crowns is book 3. Savage Rebellion is the series. Savage Bounty. So I'm still waiting on Savage Bounty to get here. Shipping has been delayed due to the weather, but I really loved the first book in this series. And we have a girl who is investigating something that has happened to her best friend. There are rumors in this land about this savage legion that the politicos have put together and thrown these people on the front lines. Basically, if they don't like you, you're going to the front lines of this war. If they don't like you, they're going to find a way to take you down. If you perform any act that is unlawful, they will send you to the front lines of this war. And there's a lot of people who don't want to believe that this is true, that they want to believe that, no, they're still just prisoners, yet the prisons are empty. And so she goes on a hunt for her best friend to try and figure out what happened to him. Is the Savage Legion real? And she infiltrates the ranks. And I think it is a really, really good story. I gave the first book 4 stars, and it is a little disheartening to see that this is the third book. So I don't know how this series is going to wrap up, but the second book is the thickest. And I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. Like I said, I really loved the first book. I really liked the first book, and I want to see where this story goes. Okay, before I forget, let's talk about the Aardvark books that I am going to be getting. One of them is actually on my pile of shame, and that is The Reformatory by Tananarive Due. And I've heard so many good things about this book, but whenever I started reading it, I was having like really bad depression, and it was not the book for me to be reading at that time. I definitely didn't need to pick up something so dark and horrific, but I loved the writing, and so I want to go ahead and read it now that I'm in a better headspace, now that everything is not quite so stressful over here, and I've wanted to own it ever since it came out. And so I got it from Aardvark. And then I got one that is called Unromance. I don't know how this book's going to go. I've never heard of this author before, but the cover is really cute. And it's about this guy who's like a TV star, and he meets a girl who writes romance novels. And he's like, okay, ruin romance for me. Like, tell me how it goes. And that's basically all I know about it. But that's all I really wanted to know about it. Like, that's all that I needed to hook me. And so I'm excited to see where this goes. The third one is a sci-fi. I can't remember the name of it. I will post an image of it. And investigating this, it sounds like it's probably going to be a literary sci-fi, and I've never really read a literary sci-fi. I have Too Like the Lightning, and I do want to read that one as well. But I'm trying to branch out in my sci-fi reads. I have a tendency to go for those fast-moving plots. I have a tendency to go for rogue characters and stuff like that. So it is a little outside of my wheelhouse to be picking this up, but it is a space opera, so I am hoping that we will have some of that. And it's about people who've had to move on from Earth, and that is a trope that always intrigues me. So I'm still looking forward to it for those aspects. It might be a little bit on the literary side, but I'm not put off by literary. I've read some literary horror that was really good, and I just, it's not my 100% my cup of tea, but it is something that I could really enjoy. The next three are from the Books A Million sale, and they had the 50% off hardcovers just like Barnes & Noble does. And I got Blood of the Old Kings. I've heard a couple people talk about this, and the few that I've heard talk about it have really enjoyed it. And if you guys have seen my previous video, my vlog, I have been reading The Art of Prophecy. I finished The Art of Destiny and the War Art Saga. I'm really enjoying Asian fantasy, and so I wanted to go ahead and pick this one up. If I remember correctly, this is actually a translated work too. But this tagline is all I needed. Step into a world of necromancy, murder, and twisted magic. A world in need of a hero. So I am hoping there's not like some chosen one trope in here, but I'm not always put off by that. And it sounds like it's going to be really good. And like I said, oh yeah, it says translated right there. I told you I can't see. Or it's an publishing house that I trust. So I'm just looking forward to delving into this. I've heard there's dragons on the cover. And so, yeah. And in an empire run on necromancy, dead sorcerers are the lifeblood. I don't need to know anymore. I really don't. But looking forward to this quite a bit. Now one that I've heard such mixed reviews on, but it's vampires, so I'm gonna read it, so I might as well have picked it up. And that is Rachel Harrison's So Thirsty. It says a vampire novel right there. Now, what I know about this one is that there are two women who are not having the greatest life, and so they go off on an adventure only to encounter a vampire. That's all I know. That's all I want to know. And I'm assuming one or both of them are going to be turned. I don't know. I'm hoping that that's the case, but I've also heard that this is not what everybody expects it to be. A woman must learn to take life by the throat after a night out leads to irrevocable changes in this juicy, thrilling novel. From Rachel Harrison. Yeah, so I'm excited. I'm always excited for vampires. Let's see how it goes. A tentative favorite author of mine. I really have only just absolutely fell in love with one book from this author, but I do have two books from this author. I love The Child Thief. I love Slewfoot. They're both 5 stars for me. So I had to pick up Evil in Me by Brom. This is the only hardback I own by Brom, and it's brand new. So like it's the first time I've ever just jumped on one of his releases, but I do own Lost Gods on audio, and I bought this just because it's Brom. There's no other reason. I love his art. Let me see if I can find some of his art. But here's like chapter header. And so he probably did the cover art as well. There's one here. It says, from USA Today bestselling author comes a novel of possession, damnation, and rock and roll, where one woman must get the world singing in order to save her soul. It also sounds like We Sold Our Souls by Grady Hendrix. So maybe he took his inspiration from that. I don't know. But Brom is pretty dark. His writing is really great. I love his writing. And Slewfoot is like one of my favorite books of all time. So yeah, it's Brom. What else is there to say? And my dog's gonna knock over the tripod. Quit it. So here are my Aardvark books from last month. I don't know if they always have shipping delays, but I got these late and I'm still waiting on my books for this month. But I picked up House of Last Resort by Christopher Golden. I have read Christopher Golden before. I read Tin Men and I really enjoyed that. And I have read Dead Ringers and really enjoyed that. They've both been kind of, I don't want to say fun because they're kind of dark, but fun, entertaining books. I've only ever given him 4 stars, but a 4-star author is still a hit for me. I'll still pick up the books because I know that I'll probably really enjoy them even if they're not going to be favorites. And so yeah, House of Last Resort says, a sensational new novel set against the backdrop of an idyllic Sicilian town about an unspeakable horror that will chill you to your bones. So I don't know much about this. I haven't heard anybody talk about this. In fact, I don't know a whole lot of people who read Christopher Golden, but I'm excited about this. I've also read some of his, where he is the person who gathered up the stories for an anthology. He was the editor. I've read a couple of those as well. And so I'm looking forward to this one. Okay, and then I got The Resurrectionist by A. Ray Dunlap, and the little quote down here says, "Wit as sharp as a scalpel, and a plot as dark and twisted as the Edinburgh alleys in which it is set. A thrilling debut by Hester Fox." Now, I haven't read anything by Hester Fox, but I know she writes Gothic books, and so that excites me. That excites me that she's calling this dark. And I have to read the back of this to you, though, because I found it really intriguing. "Portrait of the medical student as a young body snatcher. Yet I must insist that in the end, this is not a story about death. It is perhaps a life story, or even, yes, a love story. It is the story of how I clawed my way from the decay of a crumbling legacy into the modern era of reason and science. It is the story of how I escaped the prison of archaic superstition to the freedom of enlightenment. It is the story of how a rose can blossom even from the bloodiest soil, of how light can grow from shadow, how love can grow from despair. This, dear reader, is the story of my resurrection." Yes. Okay. I got chills just reading that. Like, it sounds so up my alley, and I need to devour this book immediately. Immediately. I'm having a hard time focusing on what I'm supposed to be reading because I want to read this. Something you guys might not know about me is I love Shakespeare. I love Shakespeare. I have a King Lear poster in my hallway. I have a degree in English literature, and I focused on Shakespeare for a lot of my degree. I wanted to be a professor of Shakespearean literature, and so Lady Macbeth, of course, this was gonna be a book I bought. Am I late to the party? Yes, but I really like Ava Reid's writing, and so Ava Reid and Shakespeare, yes, I need it in my life, and I'm so excited. That's all I need to know. I hope you guys don't need to know anymore, because that's all I have to say. Um, Shakespeare, Ava Reid, let's do this. Okay, so the next 3 are my book of the month picks for this month. And I have a book I've already read. I did not own this book, but I am from Oklahoma, and a lot of this book hit home for me. And yes, it was Book of the Year for 2021. Like I said, I've read it. I love Kristen Hanna's writing. I know she does the thing where she's trying to tug at your heartstrings, and yeah, some people are gullible and fall for it. I'm one of them. She always makes me cry. So that's all I have to say about that. I just needed this on my shelves. I own The Nightingale. I own The Great Alone, which I haven't read yet. And I own The Women. They're all books that I love from her, but I mean, I'm excited for The Great Alone. This one I've read, like I said, and I just needed it on my shelves. My whole stack has fallen over, and my dog has shifted the tripod, so let's see. Okay. Again, an author that I've liked in the past, and I own a book that I haven't read, but this came up, so I had to get it. A Sea of Unspoken Things by Adrienne Young. I read Spells for Forgetting by Adrienne Young. It came in my fairy loot box, and I really, really enjoyed it. And so I purchased The Unmaking of June Farrow when it was in Book of the Month, and now I have A Sea of Unspoken Things because it was in Book of the Month, and I just need to read these 2. This one is very short, but I loved the gothic feel of Spells for Forgetting. I love the story. Her writing is really good, so I just want to keep exploring what she's written. Now, I have heard The Unmaking of June Farrow is not quite as good as Spells for Forgetting, but I'm one of those readers that I like to make up my own mind about certain things, because I have a tendency to disagree with the popular opinion. And unless it's one specific person. If one specific person tells me don't read that, then I know that they are not going to lead me astray. But yeah, like I said, I just need to read more Adrienne Young, and that's why I got this. All right, and lastly, we have Babylonia by Costanza Casati. I've heard great things about Costanza Casati, and I have yet to read anything by them. Now, I love books like this that are retellings of history, retellings of legends, and this is no different. Kings Fall, Queens Rise. A common woman, the governor she married, the king who loved them both. Welcome to the empire of gods and men, and the one queen destined to rule them all. I've been really excited for this. I do have I have a request in for the audio of this as an ARC, and it still hasn't come through, so I don't know if I'm going to get it, but I'm very, very excited for this one, and I still need to read like Ariadne. I might just have to do a vlog where I read books like this and Ariadne and Ithaca, like get some Claire North in there. um, I own a lot, and I don't know why I got away from reading them because I really do love them. Circe is one of my favorite books of all time, and so yeah, I need to read more stuff like that. All right, that is it for my book haul. I hope you guys have found something that you guys would like to read in this book haul. I hope that you will want to discuss some of these with me later on. As always, my links are in a Linktree link down below, including my Patreon. If you guys would like to support what I do here, like, subscribe, do all the fun things, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.